In this video, we're going to be taking a look at place value of whole numbers. Now, it is important once again that you have your Go Math book out, your math journal, and a pencil out ready to go when you're watching any video throughout this year. Now, the essential question that we are going to unlock is how do you read, write, and represent whole numbers through hundred millions? And that's the place value that we'll go up to today. Now let's take a look at page 9 in your Go Math book. You'll need to turn there. And let's unlock this problem. Now it says the diameter of the sun is 1,392,000 kilometers. To understand this distance, you need to understand the place value of each digit in 1,392,000. Now a couple things that we need to understand. A place value chart contains periods. Okay? Now we know that a period is a group of 3 digits separated by commas in a multi-digit number. Okay, for example, we can see that 392, that's a period. Okay, the 3 zeros here would be a period there. This represents the thousands period. This is the ones period. Okay, and so on. All right, now the millions period is left of the thousands period. So 1 million actually represents 1,000 thousands and is written as, we can see 1 million right here. Okay? So 1 million is 1,000 thousands. In other words, if I had 1,000 of something, I would need 1,000 of that in order to get 1 million. Or you can even think of it as in terms of money. If I had one $1,000 bill, I would need 1,000 $1,000 bills in order to get 1 million. Okay, so let's take a look at this number and how it's written here. So we can see 1,392,000, okay, is the number. And what we can see here is we can see the whole actual value of each number here. Okay, so we see this, we see the 1 in 1 million, okay, but it's hard for us sometimes to understand the actual value of that. So what we do is we take that number, we multiply it by 1 million, and this is the actual value of that 1 in our number. Okay, taking a look at the 3 in that 392,000, so we're in the thousands period. Okay, so we take that 3, multiply it by 100,000, so that 3 right here, let me just erase this. That 3 actually is not just a little 3 like we see it in a number. That is actually 300,000. The 9 is in the tens place within the thousands period. Okay, so that's 90,000. The 2 is in the ones place of the thousands periods. That's 2,000. Okay, so numbers are definitely a lot larger than they appear, a lot greater than they appear within a big number like that. Now I know this is not on my screen, but you can see that the place value of the digit 1 in the 1,392,000 is millions. The value of 1 in 1,392,000, I kind of went over this already, okay, is 1 times 1 million, which equals 1 million, and I kind of went through that process right just a couple minutes ago. Now in standard form, word form, and expanded form, you can see all those different forms in your book. It's not on my screen, but it is in your book. Now just remember the math idea when writing a number in expanded form. If no digits appear in a place value, okay, for example, my ones period did not have any digits, okay, it is not necessary to include them in the expression. Okay, so you can see the expanded form stopped with 2 times 1,000. Okay, and the reason for that is the 2,000, the number 2 representing 2,000 is the final digit, and there were not any digits with any value in the ones period. Okay, let's do this together on the bottom of page 9. It says use place value to read and write numbers. Okay, now the standard form, what we can see here, let me just move this down. 582, and we know that 582 is in the thousands period, so we see a comma there. Think about it, you need to give that that to a last name, 582 what? 582,000. And then we go to the ones period, 30. Okay, so if I'm writing this in word form, 582, and then let's write this here, 1,000. And then I wrote a little bit bigger, put a comma next to that, and then we have, in the ones period, we have the number 30. So we'll just write 30. Okay, now expanded form, we take 5 times 100,000, okay, plus, now we go to the 8, moving to the next place value to the right, so we're going to decrease this by a tenth, or just take a 0 off. Okay, so that's 10,000. Plus 2 plus 1,000 plus, now we don't need to do the 0. We don't have to do 0 plus, or a 0 times 100 or anything like that. But what we can do is we can do plus 3 times 10. Okay, now moving down, it says the average distance from Jupiter to the Sun is 483,600,000 miles. Write that number that shows this distance. Now, what I like to do, I like to break this down. So I look at 483. I know what that is. I just write that, and I forget the place value that it's in. 483. And then I need to put a comma. Now, this is million. Okay, so because of that, I'm going to need to fill in my thousands period and also my ones period as well. Okay, 483,600,000. Now it's going to be in the thousands, so I'll just write 600 in my thousands period. And then that's it. And since it ends there, what we have to do is just fill in zeros for the rest of my number. So 483,600,000 looks just like this. I want you to write that down right on page 9. Okay, I want you to move over to page 10 with me, and we have the numbers 4,000,000 and 40,000. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is write these in the place value chart. We can really see the value of each number. So 4,000,000 first of all, and then 40,000. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these questions here. Okay, and then also a key reminder is that the value of each place is 10 times as much as the value of the next place to its right, or 1/10 of the value of the next place to its left. It's really important to remember that. Okay, now taking a look at this, 4,000,000 has how many more whole number places than 40,000? So what we can see, our 4,000,000 is here, 40,000 down here. See, we have 1, 2 that are not there. Okay, so pretty easy to see that 2 more whole number places than 40. Okay, let's write that down on page 10. Now 4,000,000 is how many times as much as 40,000? Okay, so if we were to go over to the left, if it were 400,000, that would be 10 times as much. And then going over to the millions place, it's not 20 times as much, it's actually 100 times as much. Okay, because each time you move to the left, it's 10 times as much. So think of it as 10 times 10. That's going to give you 100. So 4,000,000 is 100 times as much as 40,000. Okay, so we can see, so Canada's estimated land area is 100 times as much as Iceland's estimated land area. Now what we're going to do is, for example, to rename, we're going to rename 40,000 using other place values. In other words, just saying, instead of saying 40,000, okay, 41,000s, we're going to say it a different way. So if I'm taking a look at the 4 here, I would say it is 4 10,000s. Okay, in other words, I need 4. Let's say I had $10,000, or a $10,000 bill. I would need 4 of them to equal 40,000, the digit 40,000. Okay, so we take 4 and multiply that by 10,000 there. Okay, if I'm just taking a look at 40, this is how we always say it here, 40,000. Okay, so I would just write 40 here, 40,000s. Okay, in other words, $41,000 bills, for example, would give me $40,000. Okay, so I take 40,000 and I just multiply that 40 times 1,000. Okay, now if I'm taking a look at the number 400, so 400 hundreds. Okay, it's going to give me 400 times 100. Okay, and how do we know that's hundreds? There are 2 zeros after that 400. Okay, just like if I were looking at this number 8 and I have 2 zeros after that, that is 800. Okay, all we did is we got 400 and there were 2 zeros to the right, giving us 400 hundreds. Don't really say it that way, but it kind of gives you a good idea of what the value of that 400 would be, or another way to say 40,000. Now let's turn to page 11 in your book, the Share and Show section. Try to say that 3 times fast. And it says complete the place value chart to find the value of each digit. So what we have is 7,333,820. Okay, so the 7 million, we take 7, multiply that by a million. That'll give us 7 million. 3, since it's in the hundreds place of the thousands period, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply that by 100,000. Will give us 300,000. Okay, we need to write the digits here. Okay, and I'll write 300,000 here. Now what I want you to do is complete the rest of this chart. You kind of have a good idea of how I started it. Complete the rest of the chart. When you're finished with it, press play and I'll have the answer for you. So pause the video now. Okay, here are the answers in the video. Check them over with your answers and make sure that they are correct. You may need to rewind the video and watch a couple parts over again. Okay, finding the value of the underlying digit, what we can do is, I will just write that 4 down, and then I'm going to change all the other numbers to zeros. So change that 9 to a 0, the 5, 6, and 7, then the thousands period, the 4 to a 0, and the 3 to the 0. So that shows me that that 4 actually represents 40 million. Looks like a nice little innocent 4, but actually represents 40 million. I want you to try this problem all by yourself. When you're finished with it, press play and I'll have the answer for you. Pause the video now. Okay, we can see that the value of that 4 is 400,000. Here's another one that I want you to complete all by yourself. Pause the video now. Okay, you can see the value of that 9 is 90,000. I want you to work through this problem. Pause the video now. So you can see that nice little sweet innocent 4 is actually 400 million. So I want you to complete this problem all by yourself. You're going to need to write the numbers in word form, then write it in expanded form, and do this right in your Go Math book on page 11. So pause the video now. Okay, here's the answer in both word form and expanded form. And I want you to work through this problem as well. Pause the video now. And here are the answers for that problem. Check it over with the ones that you put in your book. Work through this final problem all by yourself. Pause the video now. And you should have had the answer, letter C. This concludes our video. I'll have you read over the essential question and the answer. If you have any questions about place value of whole numbers, please come and see me.